Welcome back, everyone, for some more Ace Attorney, Dual Destinies. And yeah, I'm still trying to get over the last episode, guys, because if you guys have not watched the last episode, I would highly recommend it. It was the most emotional experience I've had playing an Ace Attorney game thus far. But we're going to continue on with the case at hand. But before we do that, hope you guys have an awesome day today. Hope you guys doing well. Hopefully I do a better job just controlling my own emotions, because there's a few points during the last episode where I thought that I was going to break emotionally. But we have to find out exactly what's going on with this case, and we are continuing on with the trial. So one thing I forgot to mention too is that during this time you can get 3 bad endings. The first bad ending you get is if you deplete your confidence gauge during the Black Roll session, and another one will be happening here. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think the second one involves if you lose your confidence gauge while we're dealing with this, and the third bad ending happens later, which I'll talk about in a bit when we get there. But we left off with the judge saying, "Mr. Wright, you fought a good fight. I think you've done all you could do." Is giving up really the only option? No. Snap out of it, Phoenix. What's the matter with you? Giving in to doubt? I can't look back. Forward is the only way to go. No, Your Honor, not yet. It isn't over yet. Right. I can't lose sight of what's important. I believe in Athena, and I'll always believe in her, to the very end. A defense lawyer never gives up on his client. I have to pick myself up and stand firm. Make that brain of yours work, Phoenix. If I don't see a way, I'll just have to go back and look for one. Time to rethink this case, thoroughly. I concede the fact that Athena must have stabbed someone with a utility knife. This must have been what Ponko witnessed as Athena's hug. But Prosecutor Blackwell didn't see the knife at the scene. This means that someone must have removed it from the lab before he arrived. Who could have taken the utility knife from the lab? Well, it would have been someone else. A third person was at the scene. If I trusted Athena, then I have to conclude that there was a third person at the scene. But according to Ponko's testimony, Athena and her mother were the only 2 there. So then, how did this third person manage to escape Ponko's detection? I know. This person must have fooled Ponko's facial recognition feature by covering... well, they would have had to cover their own face. The person hid their face. But wait a minute. Ponko has a heartbeat detection system too. Even if they covered their own face, Ponko would have still detected their presence. But she wouldn't have been able to tell who they were. Wait, that's it! The culprit could have covered their face and posed as which person to avoid detection. Well, they could have posed as Meta Sykes. The person posed as a victim. If the culprit posed as a victim, that would explain why Ponko thought only she and Athena were there. All they had to do was take advantage of Ponko's basic recognition features. The culprit used this in order to pose as the victim. The reason why the jacket is at the display is because it was moved by said culprit, so... The culprit could have posed as the victim by wearing her jacket with the ID tag on it, but that still leaves a heartbeat detection system. How did the culprit get around that? It wouldn't have worked if Ponko could detect the real Dr. Sykes' heartbeat too. So does that mean that the real Dr. Sykes is already dead by that time? If that's the case, then who did Athena stab? Well, she didn't stab herself and she didn't stab her mom, so that means she would have had to stab the real culprit. Athena stabbed the real culprit. That's it. The person Athena stabbed wasn't Dr. Sykes. It was the person who murdered her and then pretended to be her. The real culprit. Now that Mr. Wright has finally finished thinking, let us bring this to a swift end. Please give us your verdict, Your Honor, so that we can move on to hostage negotiations. You're absolutely right, Prosecutor Edgeworth. I hereby...
Objection!
I didn't say I was finished. I was only pausing for a second. because I realized something so shocking I had to take a break to digest it. But now I know for a fact that Miss Sykes is innocent. But Ponko saw me. She witnessed the moment of the crime. Yes, Ponko did witness something. She saw the hug. In other words, the moment you used the utility knife. But the person you stabbed wasn't your mother. What are you saying, Mr. Wright? The answer is simple. The person Miss Sykes stabbed was a third person, posing as Dr. Sykes. What?
Objection!
Huh. Do you really expect us to swallow that, Mr. Wright? According to the robot's statements, there was no third person there. Did you really think I wouldn't see through your ludicrous grab for time?
Objection!
After all we've been through, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm disappointed. Don't you know by now that this smile of mine means I have absolute confidence? Ha, you make that pose all the time, regardless of the facts. Ponko's strange malfunction. Mr. Taryn, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay? Mr. Taryn? But that's Apollo you're talking to. Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. That was another case of mistaken identity caused by a jacket ID tag. All because Clonko couldn't read Apollo's facial features due to that eye patch. Like Mr. Edgeworth said, a mask could nullify the robot's facial recognition, and then all the person would have to do is wear a jacket with the victim's ID tag to pose as her.
Objection!
Of all the ridiculous theories, what good would a silly disguise like that do? Have you forgotten that the robot also has a heartbeat detection system? If there was a third person at the scene, the robot would have detected them. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, but that doesn't count for much, I'm afraid. Because, by that time, Dr. Sykes' heart had already stopped beating. What? So does it mean... Yes, Your Honor. The person Miss Sykes stabbed... This third person who is posing as Dr. Sykes is her mother's real killer. But that's... I'm... Impossible. A mask? The person I stabbed was wearing a mask? Order. Order in the court. Miss Sykes, did you say something? A mask? Yes. I remember... Oh. Athena, what is it? She remembers. I remember a man with a mask. How could he... What did he do to my mother? My head. Miss Sykes, are you alright? No! The black psyche locks. They're breaking. Oh, wow. This is an Ace Attorney first right here, breaking black psyche locks. It's all coming back to me. Everything that happened the day my mother was murdered. They're gone. The black psyche locks are finally gone. You didn't really stab your mother, did you? It's alright, Athena. Just tell us what you saw that day. I was drawing a picture. When I was done, I went to show it to my mom. I opened the door, and then... That's alright. I'm right here. You're safe, Athena. She was on the floor by the workbench, with a katana sticking out of her. There was a handkerchief over her face, but I knew it was her by her clothes. And there was a man there. A man?
Hold it!
Quiet, Your Honor. Go on, Athena. He tried to attack me. In a panic, I grabbed the knife that was there and... He dodged at first, so I only got his clothes. But I tried again. And this time you got him, didn't you? I did. I remember it clearly now. The knife went into the back of his hand. Then he kicked me, and I passed out. Utility knife updated in the court record. The murder weapon used on Terran. Athena only used one of these to stab the Phantom's hand during the incident 7 years ago. When I came to, my mom wasn't moving. I had to do something. I had to fix her, I thought. So I asked Ponka to move her to the operating table. Something's wrong with Mom, so I'm taking her apart to fix her. So that's why she said that. Your Honor, as you can see, the defendant has just given us critical new testimony. A man was there before Miss Sykes arrived. A man who covered the victim's face and put on the victim's jacket. This man is the real culprit. Miss Sykes, do you have any idea who this man was? No, I'm afraid I don't. A few moments ago, Miss Sykes mentioned a mask. Athena, can you tell us anything else about that? Yes, the mask. It was my mom's Japanese theater mask. I think there was one hanging on the wall in the lab. Oh, there's a mask hanging here on the wall. It was kind of spooky, that mask. My mom used to tell me that a no mask even has the power to turn an ordinary human being into a phantom. A phantom? It would seem that a new suspect has emerged, and that means that all suspicion against Miss Sykes has... You see? This is precisely why I can't trust the court system. Athena Sykes is the murderer. I won't accept any other verdict. Miss Blackwell. Oh, this is not good. A new suspect? Where's the proof this person ever existed? Who says it wasn't all just a dream in the little princess's groggy little head? She's right. We don't have any hard evidence of the masked man's existence.
Objection!
Thank you, Mr. Ray. I'll never be able to pay you for all you've done. But I'm fine now, because I can say with certainty that I didn't kill my mother. Athena, I'm so glad for you. More and more memories are coming back now. So I'd like to say one thing if I could. Ponko came to the robotics lab around 2 p.m. to recharge. I went to the robotics lab at about 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that, I was recharging, so I don't know anything. I see where you're going with this. If Mommy Metis was really the killer in disguise... Right, then he must have come to the robotics lab before 2 p.m. Do I have anything here, any evidence? Oh, I believe we do. They can help me find this person who came to the lab before 2 p.m.? Yeah. It's this, the 7-year-old video.
Take that!
This is Prosecutor Blackwell leaving the scene after the incident around 3 p.m. What I'm wondering is, does the video show anyone else passing by there before then? I don't see anything in the investigation report. Looks like they didn't check. Just as I thought. So if we would wind the footage and go back at around 2 p.m., we should be able to see the true culprit leaving the scene. Well, very well then, let's take a look. There! Please stop it right there. Oh! It's just like you said. There's a man leaving the scene of the crime. Miss Sykes. Excuse me. Do you remember this person? That's him! I'm sure of it! He's wearing my mother's jacket! I did, but what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes? Can you see it? There's the slash I made with the utility knife that day. And I'm sure that knife is under that jacket somewhere. So then, everything Miss Sykes said... Exactly. It proves that Miss Sykes' memory was correct. Dr. Sykes' killer arrived at the robotics lab before 2 p.m. He killed her and hid her face with a handkerchief. Then, he disguised himself with Dr. Sykes' jacket and mask that were there in the lab. The culprit probably knew beforehand that Ponko charged up at 2 p.m. every day. So he waited for Ponko to come to the lab for her regular recharge. By leaving Dr. Sykes' jacket on, the culprit tricked Ponko into thinking he was Dr. Sykes, thereby making it look like she was alive up to that point in time. All to disguise the real time of death.
Objection!
It's a nice theory, Mr. Ray, but I'm afraid that's just not possible. What? Why not? The victim's jacket is clearly visible right there in this video. And that right there is precisely the problem. The ID tag on the jacket at the scene confirms beyond doubt that it belonged to the victim. If the person who left the lab truly was wearing the victim's jacket, then how could it possibly have wound up back at the crime scene? What's going on? That doesn't make sense. Edgeworth's right. If the culprit was wearing the jacket, how did he get it back to the lab? Well, that means that the killer would have had to brought it back. The killer used the jacket as a disguise to make his escape, but in order to conceal that fact, he had to get the jacket back to the crime scene. So the culprit simply returned to the robotics lab later and planted it there. Contradiction resolved.
Objection!
Except that it would have been impossible. The only people who came to the robotics lab after the killer were Prosecutor Blackwell and the people who reported the body. And they claimed that the jacket was there when they arrived. So, when do you propose the mysterious man of yours had the chance to return the jacket? Puzzling question indeed. When did the culprit have the chance to bring the jacket back? Well, he would have had the chance when the body was found. The only time the culprit could have returned the jacket was when the body was found. Mr. Ray, do you realize the implication of that argument? I do. Most people, when they come across a murder, focus their attention on the body. The culprit could have taken advantage of that split second to plant the jacket. In other words, the true culprit of this case, the man known as the Phantom, was one of the first people to discover the body. I would never have thought of that. Order. Order in the court. What is the meaning of this, Prosecutor Edgeworth? The body was discovered and reported by a group of 3 people. They were there to collect the space probe's capsule in preparation for the HAT-1 launch. One of these people had a special bag to transport the capsule in. Oh, you mean a shock-resistant bag? Correct. I suppose that if the jacket was in that bag, it could have been returned to the scene of the crime without anyone noticing. I'll see to it that you get the reports on those 3 people. You will? We should also check the facial recognition database for that robot. If this person felt the need to hide his face with a theater mask, it might mean that his facial data was once registered. Prosecutor Edgeworth, does this mean? I have to admit, but I believe Miss Sykes' memories to be credible. You win, Ray. Not that this was ever an official trial, anyway. Do my ears deceive me? Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you actually conceding? Is it you, boss? Does this mean I can't believe it. It's over. I won. I proved that both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell were innocent. Your Honor, I see no need to further prolong this trial.
Objection!
Hold on, Mr. Ray. Have you forgotten who's in charge of this trial? That's right. I'm the one who's supposed to say, I see no further Not you either, Your Honor. Now silence. The little princess who's truly beloved by Metis, and who repaid that love with death. All these years, hating Athena was the only thing that's kept me going. But what do I do now? Can anybody tell me? How am I supposed to go on? Miss Blackwell. How unlike you, Aurora. Metis was deeply passionate about her work, and she chose you as her partner, isn't that— Shut up, Simon. You know exactly how I felt about her. Her respect as a co-worker wasn't all that I wanted. Then what did you want from her? Did you really just go there, Your Honor? Aura, there is something I've wanted to say, if you will lend me an ear. I have in my possession a lead on who Metis' murderer is. You do? Right, Dono. You asked me about the identity of the Phantom of 7 years past. That's right. The Phantom. The person Blackwell has been looking for, even from behind bars. 7 years ago, somebody hatched a plan to sabotage the Hat 1 project. The spy. But he was no ordinary spy. We knew naught about him. His background, appearance. We came to refer to him as the Phantom. At the time, I was working with police to hunt him down. And then one day, a miracle occurred, and I obtained a lead on him. Oh, how exciting! What was the lead? A recording of the Phantom's voice, but the quality was too poor for proper voice analysis. Yet, I had hope. Aura's co-worker was a scientist who could analyze human emotions. So I asked her to evaluate the recording using analytical psychology. And that scientist was Dr. Sykes. Yes, the spy's greatest fear is to have his true identity discovered. In addition to Hack 1, Dr. Sykes' results and the recording was surely among his targets. But his search of the space center bore no fruit, so he must have started to panic. He couldn't find them? Where could it have been? Humph, who's to say? Wow, I bet he's never let that out of his sight all these years. How in the world did you smuggle them into prison? Oh, I have my ways. What's more, my partner is especially talented at that sort of thing. I worked to lure the Phantom in by spreading rumors throughout the underworld. I was even granted permission to prosecute cases that attract the Phantom's attention. Just try to retrieve your identity, you bloody butcher, became my taunt. And what about the results Dr. Sykes drew up for you? Was there any useful information? Here, you can see for yourself. But take good care of it. It's all I have left of my mentor. I will. I better hold on to this real tight. Phantom Psych profile added a court record. The subject's emotions rarely fluctuate, and he doesn't experience feelings like normal people do. Psychological profile classified. Emotional output of his voice extremely weak compared to typical voices. Subject deemed to have unique psychological makeup with almost no emotional fluctuation. No emotional fluctuation, huh? A spy who experiences no emotions, not sadness, nor anger, and naturally, not fear. He is very definition of a phantom, a monster with no heart. Don't you see? This creature is the rot that destroyed our lives, and set what ails us all into motion. The Phantom, indeed. Fitting name for one who has brought darkness to our world. Well then, seems a faint image of this man has started to take shape. Based on what we've learned, I'd like all of you to conduct further investigation. This is not a formal trial, but I do want to follow protocol. If I may, I'd like to hand down my verdicts and bring these proceedings to an end. Whatever. Do what you want. You'll hear no objections from me. Yes, please, Your Honor. It's over. It's finally over. Very well. In that case, Prosecutor Blackwell, could you please take the stand? As a result of this trial, your innocence has been proven. The verdict handed down 7 years ago is hereby overturned. And now, the defendant of the current trial, Miss Athena Sykes. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, thank you. Thank you for everything. Athena, you're more than welcome. If everyone was ready, I will now give my verdict. Oh, now what? You! Oh, Apollo, what are you doing? Apollo? What What is the meaning of this? Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Prosecutor Edgeworth. You uncovered the truth from 7 years ago, and you saved Prosecutor Blackwell. However, I don't like that smile. I can't allow this trial to end just yet. Why, Apollo? Why would you do this to us? And with that, we are going to continue in the next episode. And he's probably going to give testimony, if I have to imagine. So we'll be looking for that here in the next episode. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far. I'll be seeing you guys again next time.